Okay, so we are just going to give it a moment as people start joining, and then we can get to talking. How has the weather been, by the way?
It was rainy for a couple of days, but it's getting better, and I think I'm feeling comfortable in comparison to Japan summertime. Here Singapore.
Okay.
So, always temperature has been always 30 degrees Celsius.
Right.
40 degrees in Japan. So
right.
It is relatively better.
For once, right? It's better to be feeling cooler in Singapore.
Very comfortable.
Nice.
During summertime, always summertime.
Right. Well, that's my life too. I've always lived like that, so I know what you're going through.
I see. In your home country, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right. So I think we've gotten quite a few people on board. And I would just like to say welcome to Sparkdojo Leader Series.
I'm not reader.
Please stop being modest. But thank you everyone for joining us. And I know a few of you are probably a little confused. You're saying, Reina looks a little different today. But yes, I am Zia Holder, of course, and some of you know me as a Sparkdojo communication coach. So today I am joined by Mr. Hirotoshi Nakahara, who is a preeminent data scientist, born and bred here in Japan. And he has the unique experience of working for a global tech company. And he has recently moved from Japan to Singapore, a predominantly English-speaking country, especially in their world of business. So today we're going to talk to him about many things. We're going to talk to you about many things. And I am very happy to have you. Thank you very much for joining us.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So today, my first question, before I start actually, I do want to let everyone know that we will be taking questions from all of you for Hirotoshi. So please feel free to use the Q&A tool in Zoom. And you can ask questions at any time. And at the end, we will leave about 10 to 15 minutes to share questions with Hirotoshi, and he will answer to the best of his abilities. Okay? So before we dive into your fully professional life and things like that, my first question is actually about your whole journey. Because it's really hard to imagine a 5-year-old saying, Mom, Dad, I want to be a data scientist. So tell me, how did you actually get to this point in your career? What was your journey like?
Okay, I understand. Actually, my career started from consulting company, global consulting company, as a management consultant working for supply chain group. And in the team, I have worked with Reo-san, president of Sparkdojo. And after that, I joined in, this is obviously good, Kyoto University as a researcher for analysis of relationship between genotype and clinical data. And then back to consulting industry. Actually, our company was AT Kearney, Tokyo office. And after that, I joined in current tech company in Japan, and then moved to Singapore. And one of the motivation have involvement in data science is maybe kind of overlap between my strengths and also what I like. So favorite things. So that's the reason to choose this area. So basically I'm focusing on not only data analytics, but also combination of skills such as business consulting, business planning, and also execution, project management.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the overview. But in my childhood, I'm not sure what's the exact reason to choose this data kind of things. But maybe one of the strong reason to focus on this data science is first manager when I was working in Accenture in the first project. Basically, the project was working for network optimization across production and distribution system for pharmaceutical companies. And the project objective was identifying optimal warehouse location across Japan to optimize logistic cost and also service level for the delivery. So in the project, my role was creating some semi-linear programming model based on logistics data provided by client. And actually I couldn't sleep for a couple of months in the project. But successfully we created the project and also delivered the recommendation in terms of the network, distribution network. So this success case was very impressive for me, and also decided to focus on data and analytics in business context. And also my manager advices your strength is obviously data, not communication and not people engagement. So you have strengths in data area. That's why I spend some time to run data and analytics for a while. Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. So your data analytics first started with strong ties to logistics and geographic location information systems, things like that, right?
Yep.
Very interesting. So these have very strong business applications. That is very interesting stuff. But I also kind of wanted to know about how does data science help us live in the modern world today? Like, they say that data rules the world, but where is it best applied in this modern living world? Yeah.
I think the many data scientists and data analysts want to create a very cool fancy model based on data. But in my view, 95% of project is time wasting. So one of the critical things to think about data science is selecting appropriate project to achieve business goal in business context. So that's my opinion. Because almost time of data scientists and data analysts spending on data manipulation, data cleansing, this is really not cool. So kind of iteration of manual work. So some people can imagine if they are working for data analytics. So they're obviously not interesting and not funny things. So just changing data format to another format, just fulfilling a null value, and also cutting some out of linear values. So just this kind of things. And before creating some AI model, so that's a real situation. So there's no business outcome. This kind of old process will be time wasting. So I think this story is linked with my experience in Kyoto University. I actually conducted some statistical analysis for genotype data and clinical data, but obviously almost data were broken. And one of the reasons is some facility to get the data from clinical study was broken because due to some lack of tuning of the machine in the operation process.
Wow.
So basically, I created some kind of 3D visualization chart. But basically, the figure of the chart was kind of mountain, kind of Fujisan.
Oh, okay.
Yes. That means all of high value data has cut, right? Due to lack of calibration. So basically, the chart figure like mountain and the top is very flat.
Wow.
So there are numerous number of missing data. In that case, I think data analytics doesn't work. So I thought, operation process folks should ensure, a good calibration before collecting data. So, this kind of things is happening always.
This is very interesting. So you're throwing a lot of terms at me. So I want to slow down and break down a little.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yes.
Let me ask you, so about your first part of your answer, you said about 95% of data analytics are a waste of time.
Yep.
Can you go back into why you think it's a waste of time? You said it's the same thing as doing manual labor. People are just changing values or looking to manipulate data that's already collected. Why is this a waste of time?
Okay, so basically, in terms of learning, that might be a good thing for people, right? So people can learn. But in terms of outcome, almost all data analytics projects didn't provide outcome in actual situation. So that's why, people, I think, HR agency is emphasizing data analytics, and the data scientists should understand business context as well on top of data technical capability.
Okay.
And how to measure this? I think I can see numerous number of projects are going on in the world, including my current company and also previous company. But almost all projects is not executed in real time based on the also enterprise base. So just kind of POC, point of proof of concept, like things. Yeah. So proof of concept is not linked to its business outcome, right? Just investing and R&D phase. And almost project is not didn't succeed in enterprise scaling phase, right? So this kind of proportion is very exact and also very similar situation in many companies. And there are also another reason. Maybe almost all companies across the world that don't have variable data at the scale. So in case of my company, there are numerous number of data. And which is beneficial and also to some extent accurate. In that case, data equal value. So data is equivalent to value. But some other cases, there are a lot of missing values, and also market share of data is very tiny. For example, some clients and some startups had big data, right? But in terms of, for example, credit card data. Credit card data is very variable data, as an example. So some of us might think about, we can change this data to money immediately, right? But I think it's matter of quality and also quantity, right? So if the data coverage in Japan only covering 1% of total data, so there exists sample bias to understand the market. So 1% is very tiny and also not sufficient to tell about the market. So this kind of bias exists. That's why we need to be careful about talking about value of data. So it depends on both quantity and quality.
Okay, all right. Very good to understand. Okay. Let me go forward then. You're talking about whether this data is valuable, what it can be used for beyond proof of concept, whether you can use the data for things that will become revenue producing and things like that, right? That is, again, coming from sort of like a top-down look at data, right? How do you use data to drive various businesses, to reorganize society, the economy, things like that? Very top-down view. My question comes from people like me, a bottom-up view. What do you think that somebody like me, an ordinary person, what should I understand about data in this world that we're living in? What should I know?
Okay, so you have two questions, right?
Yeah.
So how to identify appropriate project in top-down manner. And another question is how to interpret data meaning and also meaning of data project from bottom-up manner, okay?
Correct.
Okay, firstly, first question, I think I would strongly recommend start with issue-driven project identification. So issue-driven project need to focus critical thing in the company and also organization. So what's the critical? So basically, if we set the company's objective to maximize enterprise value or profit or cash flow, we can identify most critical component across the companies. One of the example, I'm checking some variety of cases so far in published document. Based on that, some successful company focusing on critical components. For example, shipping company, shipping carrier company. I'm not sure this is the exact explanation. So bring a lot of luggage or product on the ship, right?
Okay.
And, right. So kind of logistic company.
Yes.
But having shipping facility and also ship itself. So shipping logistic company. And basically their P&L structure is very clear. Most critical cost component is fuel cost, right?
Okay.
So they need to send their clients product from Japan to US, Japan to Singapore, Japan to Europe. The most critical cost component is fuel cost.
Okay.
So the key question is how to ensure efficiency and effectiveness of fuel cost in the operation. So 1% improvement might bring 1 billion profit.
Okay.
Sometimes, right? Depending on the company side. So in that case, optimizing route of shipping could be beneficial for the company. That's why they can focus on collecting shipping operation data across the globe to maximize efficiency of fuel cost. And they are collecting temperature data, weather data, also past shipping operation data, collecting from sensors and a lot of electricity facilities and so on. And then gathering and creating a model to predict estimated cost. In the shipping route, right? So, and by creating this model, they can propose optimal and best shipping route across the globe for every ship they are running.
Right.
So they succeeded 1% cost reduction. That is equivalent to 1 billion profit, not revenue, profit. So this kind of approach is the right approach to understand and also select appropriate project. So let's start focusing on critical components for the company and focusing on resources to collect data linked with critical component, and then creating artificial intelligence model. So that's the right approach.
So it's very goal-oriented or
Yes.
problem-solving kind of approach that you use data analytics in business for.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, that makes sense. Okay. And what about the bottom up? What does a person like me who is not tech related, but you know, somewhat within like corporate Japan and the global corporate society, how do I, what's my understanding of data analytics? How can I use it to, you know, bolster my career?
I think there are multiple patterns to get the involvement with data. So first one is walk away from data. So that's a choice. That's a choice.
Wow.
Obviously.
Wow.
I understand some people have strengths outside of data and analytics and numbers, right? So human relationship, communication skills, and also influencing skills. So I think this is also necessary things for organization and companies. So I respect that. So some people say, I don't like data, I don't want to touch data, so I would respect these kind of things. If they have strengths in communication and also risk management and so on, it's great, it's great. But the another type, if they are interested in data and analytics, I would recommend, regularly checking data in simplified manner at the first stage. So in that phase, I can help the people to utilize the data. For example, I'm creating a dashboard from some salespeople so that they can take action easily. So no model, no statistics, no granular, too granular things. Just showing recommendation in data, right?
Okay.
So I'm highlighting some urgent things in red color, yellow color, and so on in dashboard. So they can check that and they can take action. So this is very primitive process, but an important process to get the involvement with data. And after that, I would recommend more advanced way to manipulate data. So I would recommend touching more granular data, more raw data, without any instruction. So this kind of step-by-step is important for people interested in data.
All right, very nice. Thank you. I think you've taken me through a very thorough look at the basis of your professional work. Now I actually want to switch things around a little bit and talk about the fact that you are a Sparkdojo success story. You are a global professional and you've worked with us here at Sparkdojo before you left Japan and even after you left Japan. So I want to ask you about your transition into professional life in Singapore. What has your experience been so far?
Basically, I'm feeling comfortable. Comfortable on current environment in comparison with Japan environment because it is relatively easier for me to explain fact and logic and implication. This kind of things is much appreciated in comparison with Japan. So relatively easier to talk straight. So yeah, that's great things after the transition. And if I want to say some challenges here is we need to avoid suspecting others in this kind of environment because I'm contacting with, I have joint projects across the globe, including Europe, US, and many countries in APAC. And sometimes misunderstanding each other is happening. And also sometimes a little bit political situation. So basically, I cannot get every type of information in real-time manner in comparison with Japan environment. So Japan is small environment, relatively easier to understand the situation, also collect the information directly via some key people. But in global environment, many people working, and many people have different things they want to do. Also, prioritization is different. So in that case, to some extent, pay attention and pay care to what others are doing, and also its prioritization, regardless of the importance for the company. So I think we can avoid unnecessary friction by having this kind of attitude in this environment.
Okay, so actually it sounds like you're saying two things that are very different here. You're saying on one side, when you speak of your work to your coworkers, you can be very direct about the actual things going on with your projects. And that direct communication is good for you. You feel comfortable.
Yep.
But when it comes to projects with lots of layers, because there are many more people and different prioritizations, it becomes a little more difficult to communicate.
I think, second point is mainly leadership communication. So higher layers people tend to have implication in meetings. And sometimes it is ambiguous, sometimes it is unclear, but we shouldn't touch too much sometimes due to the situation of stakeholders. So leadership information can get easily in Japan environment because I can have talk with leadership directly if necessary. But in global environment, leadership communication and the leadership communication opportunity is very limited. Sometimes head of the team, maybe quarterly or monthly. So once a quarterly or once a half year. So in that case, direct communication and direct interaction sometimes difficult. But always all things are going on, and always all things are changing in real-time manner. So, so we need to collect information effectively and efficiently to have right understanding.
Okay, so that's actually a really great kind of area that I'd like to talk to you about. You say when it comes to speaking with, upper level leadership in the company, especially if it's a global company, you have maybe once every quarter that you speak to the head of a division or something like that. So then what do you keep in mind when you have to communicate like that up the chain of command and you only have twice or three times a year? How do you communicate then?
Basically, communication is starting at the beginning of every project. So basically, I'm focusing on critical things for the company at the time of selection of project. So I don't choose project based on only my interest. So by selecting critical things, sometimes leaderships asked me about sharing the project progress directly. So that's a good communication approach. So basically focusing on critical things and delivering output and progress. And then automatically some leadership are interested in getting interested in the project. So that's a good communication timing. So basically I don't ask leadership to have meeting with me directly. Basically, leadership asking me to set up a meeting to share the progress. So I think, selecting critical components with strategic thinking is the most important things. And then, we can have effective communication with them. Okay.
All right. That's good. So be very matter of fact. Be very open about what you're working on, sharing your concerns and things like that right away without worry. That's something that gets management looking in your direction, or upper level leadership looking in your direction, and then you work from there. Okay. All right. I think that's a pretty good strategy when it comes to communication in such a global company.
Yeah, and also another good approach is leveraging communication people, communication strengths people. Actually, I don't like them honestly, but I would respect their strengths because they don't touch anything in detail. They don't create anything, but they have strengths, really good strengths to communicate something to leadership.
Okay.
So kind of matter of voices of the company. So yeah, definitely, yeah, individually, I don't like them. In my view, and I don't like them. I don't want to be them, but I would respect them in terms of strengths. Also, I'm identifying meaning to work with them. So sometimes after getting involvement of this kind of communication people, they automatically amplifying voices across the company. So this is really, really efficient and effective after creating component and content. So I think this is really good joint collaboration with different strengths people.
Right. Yeah. When you get to a level of working in a large company, a global company, there are definitely several layers that you have to go through when you communicate. And you're right, diversity of skill really comes into play in an organization like this, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Different people will help grease the wheels and move projects along with their own strengths, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Both are critical. So sometimes bias group exists, right? So only focusing on creating something, only focusing on just communicating, but no component and the new things, right? So yeah, joining both forces is a kind of effective way to deliver value across the globe, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's awesome. That's literally the meaning of teamwork.
Yes,
The whole team,
yes.
right?
Yep.
Excellent. I wanted to ask you again about this global work environment. What experiences or skills in the consulting industry in Japan are useful for the global work environment?
Basically, every aspect of consulting mindset and skills are beneficial and useful regardless of work environment. So one of the aspects of consulting industry is features per hour. So consulting companies asking clients to pay money on assignment per hour. So maybe like 50,000 yen per hour, 100,000 yen per hour, and this kind of thing. Very expensive.
Yeah.
So this kind of habit of consulting industry is very good for its employees to think about the value of time and the value of existence in business context. So we need to deliver, consultancies need to deliver specific value, which makes sense for this kind of expensive fee. So this kind of mindset is very, very important regardless of working environment. So especially in this remote environment, so we are setting up a numerous number of calls across the globe. So taking time from everyone. So even though everyone very, very busy and didn't have time, so we need to be careful about what's the value of time to set up the meeting. So not just saying hello and taking friendship. Yeah, that is not the objective. So, so basically, I'm focusing on providing some new information and a new value. So they are not liable in every meeting. So creating slides, explaining new things, situation, which is beneficial for every people, all of them. So that's a great thing coming from consulting mindset. And another perspective is I think the communication style. I think consulting industry is based on kind of process of delivering beneficial information to client. So start with fact and implication and recommendation.
Yes.
So yeah, focusing on providing fact, providing implication or recommendation is tend to be appreciated in general environment. If even I'm not native English speaker. So by focusing on variable information and variable process, we can be part of the process in global company.
All right. Yeah, very nice. This is a very interesting and again, very direct way of looking at things and presenting them to people. It kind of relates to how we present information or we ask people to present information in Sparkdojo. You know, we always talk about prep being one of the structures that we use all the time, and it's point, reason, explanation, point. And we always start with the critical issue or the critical point or argument that's being discussed, the idea. And so that works really well. So consulting in Japan is focused like that. And I think many projects internationally, they enjoy communication that kind of starts with the most important first. So that sounds like an excellent way of looking at things. Let me ask you the other side of that question. What are some challenges that Japanese professionals may face when working in a global environment?
I'm not sure. It depends on the situation, so I don't have an answer. Maybe some people in Japan are already native English speaker. In that case, I'm not sure the answer.
Okay.
If I imagine,
do you have any like case studies or anecdotes or personal stories that you can speak about that happened to you, kind of shifting culturally?
I think take it easy, firstly.
Okay.
Maybe time consciousness is too much in case of Japan environment. So deadline, exact timeline, and so on. So day-to-day schedule, design, and so on. Yeah, generally speaking, in Japan environment, especially in consulting industry, daily schedule environment is usual things for me.
Okay.
And also client is asking consultancies to keep that. But yeah, current environment is relatively loose in terms of timeline. So Australian people are taking vacation 1 month suddenly without any notification. So that is crazy. But I stopped getting frustrated about these things.
Okay.
So yeah, anyway, we can have a lot of things across the region. So we have a lot of projects in other countries as well. So just leaving that until reactivating that. So yeah, especially Australia, Southeast Asia, timeline is very loose.
Okay.
And people taking vacation always sometimes.
Okay. All right, that's interesting. So being less rigid about schedules and timekeeping, that's something that may help a Japanese professional moving into a global environment.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of source of stress, but we don't have to avoid this kind of redundant things.
Okay.
So just waiting and activating other things.
Good. That's interesting. So that means that you also had to adjust to your situation, right? Even though you, in your mind, you know that being timely, being rigid with deadlines and schedules, you know that technically that is the right way to approach work. But if you do stick to that kind of mindset, you're going to stress yourself out and you're not going to be productive.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Do you have any advice or recommendations that you would give any of the viewers on their English communication training? Anything that was really valuable to you as you shifted into an English speaking environment?
Actually, I didn't spend time learning English so much in the past. So just focusing on my strengths and what I like. So spending time in English too much should be avoided. That's my opinion. This might be a contradiction for you.
Really?
But basically, yeah, English is coming after strength, right? So anyway, we cannot be native speaker effectively in short term outside of Japan, obviously, for non-native English speaker in Japan. So English cannot be strength itself. So unless spending huge amount of time to learn English, right?
Okay.
But yeah, in global environment, everyone can speak English. So some people very native, some people are learning in detail. Including English literature, how to speak English in public situations, so on. So I think basically we cannot beat them in terms of English skill. So we need to have another types of strengths they cannot have and they don't have.
Okay.
So focusing on strengths outside of English is very important when we work in English environment. So that's the reason to hire people if you cannot speak English well.
Okay. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Definitely being a member of that group of diverse thinking and origins here in Japan, I do think that there are many benefits and things that you can get from having people from different places and experiences. Thank you so much for sharing about your experiences. We have some questions from our audience here, and I just wanted to see if we could answer them live. And I wanted to let everyone joined in know, please, you can send in your questions via the Q&A tool, and you can even use the chat to send your questions, and Hirotoshi will answer them, of course, to the best of his ability. So let's start with a question from one of our attendees. They ask, what do you think about the advancement of tech in Japan compared to other countries like China, the US, Israel, etc.? How do you think the tech industry will evolve in Japan in the next few years?
Okay, in my view, in my personal view, I think Japan tech industry to be scattered. So the size of one company, size of our company is very tiny in comparison with other countries, obviously, because capital size is different from other big countries such as US and China, especially China, and also Israel as well. So yeah, in case of small countries, they are focusing on very small number of companies. And accumulating investment on very critical companies to get win in global environment. So number of companies is very small, and also number of capital amount per company is very huge. So that's the structural difference across the countries. So for example, in case of China, their digital spend is much higher, maybe 100 and 150 times in comparison with Japanese company.
Okay.
Generally speaking, 100 per company.
Right.
So basically, in my view, Japanese tech company should stop their business unless they can be global number one.
What? That is shocking. That is a shocking recommendation.
Okay. So there are multiple conversation, right? So if there's some business focusing on all local things, such as medical things, and also focusing on amusement park and so on, in this kind of case, business exists in Japan only, and focusing on Japan efficiency improvement and so on, right? It's okay. It's okay. But if they want to expand their business on top of Japan, or they want to create a billion company, they have to go outside. In that case, capital accumulation is critical to have competition with Chinese and Israel companies. Yeah.
That's fair. But let me ask you about Israel, because Israel is actually smaller. It is a smaller market compared to China, right? Yep. It's actually closer to Japan.
Yep.
So what I know is that Israel is like the innovation capital of the Middle East. And Tel Aviv is one of those tech hubs. So what role does that spark of innovation then play in tech companies? What about, startups, small to medium-sized enterprises that could be that unicorn that gets to billion-dollar status? What role does innovation then play?
Basically, in my view, Israel tech companies' technology is based on defense industry. So, yes. So Israel is in very complicated situation in politics in the region, Middle East.
Okay.
So basically, they have sense of technology and also application to defend themselves. So that might accelerate people's engagement and also aspiration and maybe time investment on critical things. So they need to survive. They need to defend themselves. That's why they need to spend money on the next critical things, right?
Interesting.
So basically, some Israeli tech companies currently we are working with linked with this kind of technology and focusing on a couple of top companies in terms of investment. So there are no many companies in same industry. So focusing on a few companies, but they are achieving global number one in specific area.
Okay. So you're saying they have a niche market. It's focused on defense, and that's where their tech gets most of its players from. Very interesting. But what about then? Wouldn't it be that Japan finds its unique situation and then creates tech around that unique situation?
Yeah, I think it is getting challenging, I think, because strength of Japan in tech area is getting smaller at this moment rapidly, even especially in recent 4 to 5 years, I think. In terms of artificial intelligence and also medical devices and the medical pharmaceutical things. So rapidly degrading situation is happening in Japan.
Wow.
So one of the reasons is we have failure in creating dominating company in global environment in specific area. So some startups and disruptors are really great, I think, really great in my view, but they are not global number one to dominate global market in specific area. So some maybe opportunity still existing some very specific area, like materials and like specific technology to as part of the process, such as semiconductor. So still exists this kind of top area for Japan.
Right.
But basically we failed to dominate full process and also some attractive area so far. So we need to, in my view, we need to change mind and accumulating capital in specific area. Instead of launching a lot of businesses. So that's my view. That might be controversial.
Yeah, it is very controversial. I want to argue with you more. I like to do that.
Please do that.
But we do have some more questions here. So let me
okay. Yeah.
One participant would like to know, how dangerous is data manipulation and data integrity attacks and data theft to ordinary people like us? And how can it impact our lives? And is there any way to protect ourselves?
I think it's a matter of people's approach to the tech, right? So I think dangerous situation in terms of data manipulation is to some extent specific. So data stolen and also credit card fraud, and also distributing individual personal information to www.
Right.
And also some intelligence organization working for data collection across the globe, including big countries.
Very.
Yes. So yeah, I think specifying what's the risk for each individual is a very important point, right? So I don't think for personal view, I don't think utilizing my data for advertising activities, promotion for some product, it's okay. So I'm it's okay. So it's good to understand the machine learning algorithm and so on individually. But some people don't like this kind of things, even in marketing area.
Right.
So I think degree of acceptance of this kind of situation is the first important thing to need to think about. But some criminal things, definitely we should stop it. In that case, we need to have control to share data to each company and organization. We need to think about what's the meaning of sharing data.
Right.
So actually, Apple recently announced the iOS 14 update to enforce every app vendors to get explicit consumer permission on mobile app application and on iOS. And every app vendors need to specify what's the objective and the purpose to get the data and the user data.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good situation happening in the industry to make people understand about the data utilization way.
Right.
So I would say this kind of things, accountability of data.
Yes.
So data utilization side must take care accountability to explain purpose of utilization of the data.
Yeah, that's good. I heard a quote from an academic, and I can't remember exactly who it is, but please forgive me. He said things like, when you sign terms of consent or services and contracts, and you see that little button on the bottom that says, okay, I agree to share my data. He says, when you actually read that dialog box, there is a long written contract about how data is to be used by the website or app or service or program that you're using.
Yep.
He says nobody reads it. And everybody knows, even the company that it's written by knows that nobody reads that. So when you really think about it, whose responsibility is it to read that kind of notification? And should it be written in language that ordinary people can understand? Shouldn't that make more sense?
Okay, I couldn't mention detailed things due to the my company policy, but basically, generally speaking, there exist multiple roles in data process, right? So data owner and the data processor. So data owner should take care for the accountability to use the data firstly. And
Fair.
also accountability should be based on explicit explanation.
Right.
And also processor should be mentioned in the ownership side accountability, right? So data ownership should mention data processor who might be linked with data gotten in the website. So yeah, accountability is everything.
Okay.
Yes. So explicit and more simple and more easy to understand, easy to find. So this kind of accountability is getting important. Otherwise, I think the companies would lose engagement from customers anyway in the future.
Right. Yeah, that is a risk. Very interesting. All right, we're going to wrap up soon, but I have one last question for you.
Sure. Yep.
And this person is asking you to look through a crystal ball to the future. They're saying, I'm thinking, which kind of skills should I learn? Which area or which skills will be much required in the future?
I think core skill is getting important. Core skill consists of kind of PC machine, iOS, OS and mobile application structure. And basic foundation is machine itself. So that means running new things rapidly, catching up new things, moving faster, rapidly taking action. So this kind of mindset is getting critical because technology is changing rapidly. And 3 years later, automated tool will be published for everything. So everything which is viable will be automated soon. So in 2 or 3 years.
Right.
So one of the critical things is focusing on specific variable things and also abandon this kind of things based on the situation. So shifting knowledge area to the next generation things. So so learning some new technology in university or some everywhere, once 10 years could be critical. So just sticking with specific areas such as analytics, right? So that's the important thing, I think, because anything will change in very short term, and also term duration is getting shorter.
Right. So you're just saying keep up with technology, be an early adopter, always look at the way that tech is in the world today and sort of continue to keep up those skills, those core skills.
Yes. And also another skill as a foundation is articulating the technologies in business context.
Okay.
So this kind of thing is very important. So because many professionals working hard for variable things, including AI, VR, IoT, and so on. But this kind of thing, these kind of professionals focusing on only technology. So don't think about the application, also business outcome, achievement on top of that. So connecting outcome with this technology is always important and also will be important in the next decade. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Very nice. We are all out of time. But I would like to say thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your journey, your experiences, Hirotoshi. This has been very valuable for me to understand and to speak about. And thank you again for sharing this with all of us here at Sparkdojo and with our webinar leader series.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. So thank you very much for joining, everyone. And I hope this has been a wonderful session for you. People are sending in their thanks to you, Hirotoshi. And we wish you all the best in the future. Please enjoy Singapore.
You too. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good evening. Goodbye.
Bye. See you soon. Bye.